video.
Okay, thank you.
So it's called a warm-up set. So what we're going to do to start with, the first one is probably the more difficult one to get, but once you've got past that, you're fine. So if I just get you to basically imagine that you're pushing a trolley. So you're going to ground into your feet, bend your knees. You can imagine you're pushing a trolley, and at the same time you're going to slide your right foot back. And then from here, you're going to drop the arms, but you're going to take your right leg and move it out to the side. So I'm actually balanced on my right big toe. That makes sense? You're looking good? Then what you're going to do is move from the hip. So the most important thing is that your left leg stays solid. So that doesn't move. You're going to roll into an outer hip movement, taking that right knee out to the side. That's your inhale. And as you exhale, you slide the right knee underneath the right hip. So it's like a quad stretch. That's it. So you can go onto the top of your toenail. And then you just move with that movement. Remember, your left side stays very still. So you're isolating the internal and external rotation of your right hip.
You don't turn your shoulders. Keep your shoulders left shoulder forward. That's it.
So the shoulders don't move either. It's just the hip that moves. So you're just going to keep that movement. Now, you can bring in the arms. So you can start to move the arms and open into the shoulders a little bit. So as you inhale, you open the arms. As you exhale, you close slightly. So think feminine and masculine. You know we do it all the time, but you're just taking it through one side of the body.
So it's supposed to get your lower back.
It's going to get your lower back. It's going to get into your hip. And you'll feel, because you're grounding through your left, you'll feel that strengthening that left side as well. Okay, we'll take one more. And then we'll just slide the foot back in. And just take a moment just to compare the legs. I said this is probably the one that's most difficult to understand. Okay, you're going to try the same thing on your left. So you start by bent knees, push the trolley forward, slide the left foot back. Drop the arms, roll the left leg out to the side so that your big toe is more or less in line with your right instep. And then let that left knee drop underneath the hip. And then you're going to rotate. Keep the right leg strong and still. So you're just isolating. That's it, lovely. So it's an internal hip rotation on the exhale and an external hip rotation on the inhale. Keep bending into your standing leg. So it's almost like you're going down into the leg and then rolling out. So then you can bring the arms in. Inhale, it's a feminine. Exhale, it's a masculine. So the thing about this set of movements is that they cover varying different areas of the body. And they've been taken from professional dancers. So, this is kind of the sort of thing that dancers would do to warm up before a performance. So just do a couple more. Keep grounding through that right leg. And then slide the feet together. Just take a few moments. Feel the sort of energy grounding down through the feet. Now we'll probably come back to that one because it's one of the complex ones. But as we move on, you'll recognise them. So the next one you'll recognise, it looks a bit like cat-cow, but in the upper body. So bending into the knees still, you're going to round the upper back and shoulders. That's your exhale. Inhale, feminine, chest comes forward, arms open to the side. So keep the knees bent, keep that sense of moving into the body. So nice and simple because you're used to that feminine and masculine movement. But this is kind of upper body. So literally, think Neanderthal man. And then slide the shoulder blades towards each other and open the chest. That's it. Keep the knees bent. Don't be tempted to push out and lengthen the legs. Okay, we'll do a couple more. That's one. Good. And then it's the same thing again, but this time into the pelvis. So we're just literally doing pelvic tilts. So just hands on your hips so you can discern between the areas. So you're taking masculine, so you're lifting the front pubis, sliding the tailbone under slightly, and then feminine, sticking the bottom out, sticking the chest forward. So just moving forward and back. I guess you'd kind of call it a pelvic thrust. That's it. Now, once you get used to this, you could actually see if you could activate this from the pelvic floor. So, move it from that drawing upwards and inwards of the pelvic floor and then moving pelvic floor back. But just what we do on the floor, like a pelvic tilt. So first three, all linked to hips, lower spine, lower back, shoulders. Good, okay. Let's ease back to center. Before we move on, let's do number one again. Now you kind of got the sense of moving. Let's take that number one again. So bend the knees, push the shoulder forward, slide the right foot back. You're onto the top of the toe. Then you're moving that right leg out to the side and dropping into your quad. So on the top of the right toe, and then rotating the right hip, but keeping the left leg stable. So you're not moving the left side at all. And if you think about it, and I'm just going to do this with my hip, all I'm doing is moving my hip to outwardly rotate the leg and then inwardly rotate the leg. That's it. And then when you feel you've got that and there's no movement coming through your left leg, then you can bring in the arms. Opening up and then close into the midline. Just like we talk about all the time. Inhale opens up, exhale draws to the midline. Is it feeling a bit more natural now?
Yeah.
So once you've mastered this one, the rest are pretty linked to yoga. This is the only one really that, because it isolates, yoga tends not to isolate. Is the knee okay, Jackie?
Yeah, it was just a bit, again, a bit much for the knee then.
Okay, step it back. So that's the only thing you have to monitor, because you're putting all your weight down through one leg.
Yeah.
So let's just change legs. Push the trolley forward, slide the left leg back, release the arms, take the leg to the side, more or less toe in line with instep, and then let the knee lengthen underneath the hip. And then rotate. And draw midline. That's it. Keep bending into that right knee. That's your anchor point. Now you're probably looking at doing anywhere between 6 and 12, depending how you feel. And then you can bring the arms in, of course. That's it, lovely. Feel that you're boring a hole in your floor with your big toe. Okay, and then release. So we know that's number one. We know number two is upper body, masculine, feminine. Just do a couple so that you get the chain of movement going. Number three is pelvic tilt. And that's it. So again, maybe isolating the hips, thinking about pelvic floor. Now, number four we've done before. So you're starting with the knees bent, and you're going to slide your hands to the fronts of the thighs. So the thumbs are inside of the thighs and the fingers outside of the thighs. And then from here, you're just going to draw one knee forward. So you're bringing your right knee forward in line with your right hip, and then you're twisting to the left. And I tend just to move my left hand onto my bottom because it just it feels as though it creates the circle. And then you slide back, both hands on thighs, and then you slide the left knee forward, twist to the right, and place your right hand on your right buttock. Now the only thing you have to be careful, so keep going, is that when you draw the knee forward, because you're not looking at it, sometimes it gets a bit impinged. So just be careful that the knee is moving in line with the foot. You're not letting the knee roll out to the side or roll inwards or anything strange like that. And of course, you can add in as much space and opening through the shoulders as you feel you've got. We'll do two more to each side. Looking good. Okay, so from there, you're going to move on to the next one. Now, the next one starts at this point. It's a bit like chair pose. Now, this time you're going to move both knees forward. Now, as you draw both knees forward, it'll take you into a masculine, lower rounded back.
Yeah.
Making sense?
Benjamin.
And then, now you're going to take the bottom back and up, but you're going to not lock the back of the knees out. So you're going to lift the hamstrings up towards the bottom. Okay, I'm just demonstrating with my hands.
Yeah.
You can keep your hands on your legs. So the knees come forward as far as you can get them without taking the heels off the floor. And then you send the bottom up
Okay.
without locking the knees out. Yeah. Is he all right? That's it. And then bend the knees. So the knees lead the move.
Turn it back round.
So bring the fingers outside of your thighs, Paul. That's it. So you're not putting any pressure on the knee joint. So if the knees come forward, you'll feel the back rounded.
Very round.
And drop the chin to the chest. And as the legs lengthen, imagine you're lifting the back of the hamstring up into the sit bone. And then you're sliding the knees forward again. Just the only thing to be careful of, if you don't just whack at the back of the knees. That's it, round the back, Paul, round the back. Think of your masculine pelvic tilt as you bring your knees forward. Stretch that lower back out, that's it. That's it. And then stick your bum in the air. That's better. Roll your shoulders back. That's better. Now you've got it. Now round everything. Lift your front pubics. That's it. You got the that's the feminine part, Paul. Now round, lift your belly with the legs extended.
Round that bit, they're all rounded. This is how it should be all rounded there. And then shoulders back and bum up.
So when your legs are extended, your bottom's sticking out. When your knees are bent, your bottom's drawing under. And your shoulders are rounded. Okay, let's ease out of that. You're getting there. Take a few circles out of that movement. Have a little shake out. Okay, so the final movement is just literally like a flowing, bring it all together. So you've gone through that sequence, you've done all of those movements, and then all you literally do is bring, so if I turn to the side, I'll just show you, just bring the arms down, and you kind of do like a snaky movement. So it's like you're wrapping the arms around the back. So the hands come up in front of the legs. You stroke the back of the bum, you get to feel your own bum. That's it, and then down the bottom, that's it, back behind you. So you stroke the fronts of the thighs on your way up, and the backs of the thighs and the bum on the way down. That's it. Okay. And then just ease yourself into your standings. How are we feeling after that?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, once you get into it, it's quite a simple sequence that you could do in about, well, less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just take that a little bit further. So from this position, let's take a little bit of a side stretch and then we'll bring it down to the floor. So I'm just taking my legs into 10 to 2.
You always move your feet in, don't you?
Yeah, because it's a parallel feet thing. So generally, humans tend to switch off their adductors and abductors. So they tend to end up with the feet like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is switched off inner and outer thighs to a degree. So I'm always getting you to bring your heels slightly out, what I would call parallel. And then from there, you're just going to slide the right hand down the leg. You're going to bring the left arm alongside of the ear, and you're just going to bring the arm into a side stretch. And then breathe in. You can change arms. Side stretch over to the left. Okay, one more time, each side. From there, I'm going to move the feet again. So this time, I'm going to get you to turn the heels in and the toes out. So you probably feel much more comfortable in this position. And from here, you're just going to bend the knees, make sure the knees are moving in line with the feet, and do that lovely rotation with the arms. So what we call goddess position. Now, interestingly, when we hold it, we call it horse. So as you open your arms out, take the arms in front as if you're riding a horse, you're holding the reins, and just connect to these outer thighs. So make sure that the knees are moving in line with the middle toes.
Feel like I've got to do the hacker.
So horse position. Now from a horse position, we're going to do footballer stretch. So all you have to do is turn the left foot to parallel and the right heel turns out. No, you don't, sorry, I'm telling Porks. Turn both feet back to parallel. Okay, both feet are parallel, bending into your right knee so that you are letting the right knee move in line with that middle toe, but you're stretching the left inner thigh. So, yeah. So, Paul, your left toes need to be turned in more. Take your legs wider, you're not going to get the stretch fully. That's better. And then change sides. So just as a little nod to last night's game. So now turn your left heel out more, Paul. That's it. That's it. There you go. Now you've got into the groin. Okay, do that again to the right. But this time, take your arms wide and stick the bum out more. So almost like you're taking a ball across the back of your body. And then change side. Good. Okay, and then just ease it back to centre. Sail a Sam, the feet back in. And just give the legs a shake. So next move links to that feminine masculine again. So if I show you from the side, you're going to begin by taking the lower body into masculine. So you're going to take a masculine pelvic tilt so that you can feel this lift up for the front pubis, knees bent. Then imagine that there's a zip at the front of your pubis and you're unzipping. So bring the hands into prayer position keep the knees bent, tail drawing under, and then unzip. So that you're taking like a back bend. Keep the knees bent. And then from there, lengthen to centre and take a forward bend. Keep the knees soft. Okay. So, come back to the middle. Come back to standing. Scoop the tail under. Open up. You can even open the arms up if you feel confident enough. And then this time, clasp the hands behind the head and just round the upper back. Stretching out the back of the neck. So let's move between these two. Scoop the tail under. Keep the knees bent, open up the chest. Keep the knees soft. Clasp the hands behind the head. Fold forward slightly. Okay, one more time. And then ease yourself all the way back to centre, release the arms. Okay, not officially yoga, but just the jacket for your shoulders. So we're just going to circle. Remember, we've done this before. It's like a roller coaster arm.
Just
So
one.
Effort to bring the arm up against gravity, and then you're dropping. So it's up and drop. So it's really just to mobilize the joint. So I would say perhaps about 6 in one direction and then change directions. The same thing though. Slowly against gravity and then drop. That's it. And then after you've done 6 that way, take a figure of 8. So bring the arm towards the opposite hip and then swing it back. So it comes across the body, back up and down. So you can bring a bit more movement into the chest for that one.
Cross it over. Join at the front. Circle and go back.
And then just ease the arm down by the side and just compare the difference in the arms. Okay, and then change arms. Same thing. About 6 of each. And then change direction. And then figure of 8s. Nice. Okay, and then just release the arms. Give them a shake on. How are we doing so far?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We get into all those areas. So we're going to take it down to the floor now. So we'll roll down. So we'll clasp the hands behind the head again. Draw the elbows into the midline. And slowly start to peel down. And then just ease yourself onto all fours. So you'll recognise the movements. So you're breathing in to take feminine. Slide the nipples forward, stick the bum out. You're breathing out to take masculine. Lift the front pubis, draw the ribs to the midline, let the head and neck release. So take a few moments moving between those two. Okay, the final thing we're going to do, well, for Jackie's shoulder, which I find helps me. So as I come back to neutral, I'm just going to bring my bottom slightly back. So it's more 45 degrees angle than 90 degrees.
Mhm.
And I'm going to take my left fingers to what just above my left ear. And I'm going to inhale, rotate from the right side of the ribs to the left, lifting my elbow. And as I exhale, I'm going to take that left elbow and move it towards my right inner arm. I'm going to do that 6 times. So once you get into the movement, try and make it more than just an elbow lift. Try and involve the right side of the ribs. Okay, I've got 2 more. And the next time you take the elbow up to the sky, open the arm, extend the left arm, and then slide the left arm behind the right wrist. And at the last minute, turn the head so that you're resting on the left arm, the outer arm. Stay there and keep breathing.
We lost her.
Okay, now as you come out of this position, take the left arm back out to the side and then bring the bottom back in line with the knees and walk the arms forward for melting heart. So you're trying to get the forehead to the floor, but keep the bottom in line with the knees. If you can get the chest to the floor, or start to get the chest to the floor, even better, but don't roll off the knees to achieve that. Try and keep the knees and the hips at 90 degrees. Well done. So just stretching out that shoulder joint from being rounded when you're driving.
Are your arms straight when you're doing that?
Yes.
So your elbows aren't on the floor?
Well, there's an interesting question. So some schools say elbows on the floor. Some say elbows off the floor. What I would say is keep your arms active.
Right.
So if you're quite close to the floor, the elbows will drop down anyway. But don't let the elbows slump. Does that make sense? So if the elbows are on the floor, still keep an element of activity in the arms. Don't just let them rest.
Yeah.
Or as is known in the business, don't let them sunbathe.
So then what?
Okay, and then just ease yourself back onto all fours again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
So you're not just letting them go, oh, thank goodness, I can just let them hang there. You're still keeping a bit of energy in them.
Can you do it? Let me watch.
Yeah. So just to show you the difference, because I do this quite a lot, if my forehead is down to the floor, my elbows are off the floor.
Yeah.
But if I go really deep into position, my elbows drop anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting them slump. So I've still got some activity there. If I let them rest, this is what happens. That's the difference with activity. It draws my head off the floor a little bit and it keeps my shoulders engaged.
Okay, so
Well, we're going to do it again after the right side of the movement with the elbow.
Good.
So come back onto all fours. Bring your right hand just above the right ear and your bottom at 45 degrees to the knees. Breathing in, turn from the left side of the ribs to send the right elbow to the side. And as you breathe out, slide the right elbow in towards the left inner arm. So do that about 6 times. And try not to make it just about the elbow. Try and make it about the sides of the ribs as well. So the movement comes across the whole of the center torso. And the last time you take the arm up, lengthen the right arm and then thread it behind the left wrist. Turning the head eventually to look at the right hand. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. After you've held that for a few moments, release out. Bring the knees back in line. So the best thing to do is come back onto all fours again. And then take that melting heart position again so I can see you. Take your arms forward. That's it. So keep the bottom in line with the knees. That's it. That's it. You've got it. So it's either, so forehead first. And if you can take it beyond that, your aim is to get the chest towards the floor.
yeah.
Yeah? It's a great counter pose to driving.
Gee.
Now this time, you're going to come onto your tummy. So you can roll out along the floor. Rest your head on your hands. This is called crocodile. Now, remember when we stood and we did that, it looks like a back bend, but it was actually an unzipping of the front body. We're going to do that again on the floor. So initially, all I want you to do is to roll the legs to the side. So outward rotation. So it's almost like you're trying to get the heels, the outside edge of the heels to the floor. So that's your inhale. As you exhale, you're going to roll the heels back to the ceiling. And imagine you're trying to squeeze a cushion between the legs, the inner thighs. And that will start to engage the glutes. Okay, do that a couple of times.
Do you bend your knees as you put your heels out?
No,
No.
the legs just stay the same. The tops of the toes stay on the floor.
Okay.
So I'm literally just rolling my feet.
And across the tops of the toes.
Stay on the floor. How can I describe it?
You're squeezing your bum.
Do you roll on, go from one little toe and then up through the toes to the both big
No.
toes?
So Jackie, you're rolling the heels away from each other.
Oh,
Yeah, like that.
I thought they were together, sorry.
That's okay. So that's your inhale. Exhale is to roll the heels towards each other. And imagine that you're squeezing a cushion between the inner thighs, and that should start to engage the glutes, the buttocks.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, the next time you imagine that you're squeezing a cushion between the inner thighs, you're going to keep that movement, keep lifting through the front pubis, and then slide onto the elbows, so the elbows are underneath the shoulders. But you keep that imagined cushion being held between the inner thighs, so the glutes keep working. The glutes are switched on. They're going to protect your lower back. So, Jackie, just let the tops of the feet be completely on the floor. Don't touch the, that's it. That's better. So that should give you that ability to open the top chest, just like we did standing. And then release again. Let me just show you how we did it standing. You stay there. We did it standing like this. We scooped the tail under, and then we allowed that protection for the lumbar spine to open up the top chest. This is what we're doing on the floor.
Right.
So you're drawing the legs in towards each other, that engages the glutes, and then you keep that movement, lift up through the front pubis, and then come onto the elbows. So you've got that lift with the top chest. That's it, perfect. And then release. Okay, final one of those. Do all of that. So feel that you're squeezing the cushion between the thighs, you're on the elbows. Now the question is here, can you press into the hands and let the elbows lift off the floor without lifting the shoulders? So you're just opening that top chest, which is what I think you need for your back, Paul. And then from there, You're going to release down again. This time, hands by the floating ribs. And you're going to move into extended child. So bring the bottom to the heels. And then you can just rest the forehead on two fists. One fist on top of the other. Let the shoulders relax and just feel that extra stretch in the lower back. Is that all right for your knee, Jackie?
Yeah, it's very stiff. The burst, it's a bit swollen this morning.
Okay, you always come onto your back and bring the knees to your chest.
Yeah.
It's the same movement. Yeah, I was just going to give you one more. And for this one, just to make it as kind to your knee as possible, if you just grab a cushion. So it's recovery position, but I am going to take my left knee out to the side on the cushion. So I'm resting my head on the hands. My right leg is extended in line with my hip. And then my left knee is on the cushion so that as I breathe in, I can lift the lower part of my left leg and the left foot off the floor. And as I breathe out, I can lower it. It won't go to the floor, but I'm just lowering it. So I'm just lifting and lowering the lower part of my left leg with my knee still on the cushion. That's it. This is another fantastic move, which is a little bit like that first part of the warm-up set we did. It's isolating the hip joint. Okay, I just want to take two more on this side. And then allow that left leg to extend. Place it next to the right and it'll feel much longer. Really allow yourself to soften into that left side. And then you can change sides. And again, I would say between 8 and 12 of these movements, providing the knees okay, Jackie. Take your time, you don't have to rush. Take one more time. And then slowly release. Right leg alongside of the left. And then just have a little rock from side to side with the hips. And then from there, you just roll onto your back, just as you did before. Bring the knees to the chest. Now, what is really quite nice to do when you've kind of done a practice like that, if you just bring your feet to the floor, and because you've got the cushion there, just slide your cushion underneath your lower back. So you're kind of resting your lower back on the cushion. Just take some breaths there. Rolling the arms in the shoulder joints so the palms are facing upward. This is a little bit like putting your legs on a chair. You probably spend a couple of minutes like this. And then really carefully release the cushion out and just slowly peel down through the vertebrae. And at that point, you might feel able to let the legs stretch out into corpse position. And just take a few breaths there. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.